Volentia dreamed. The sweet dream. The dream of power. Her sisters had told her of this dream. She had a daughter, so big and beautiful, a perfect creature just waiting for her second, truer birth. Volentia choked. It had to be done. But to have a daughter, something so sweet, so lovely. After what had been done to her and her family, she thought she had been ruined for men. So sour a fruit to bear, too poor to ally with, too rich an upbringing to have anything else. This girl could be hers. You can't have her, the goddess said. She is mine now and forever, just as you are. Volentia moved her head towards the voice, but not her eyes. Her hands stayed on the girl. She's mine. Mine, Volentia thought. But mother, She couldn't express what she felt. I know I don't have the chance for another. Fear not, child. I have a present for you, beyond the power that all my children must wield. A promise. Volentia clutched the child to her breast. A promise for what? A second chance. For the man is mine as much as Coem is, and Coem is mine as much as you. A sweet southern lord, just for you. I don't want a southern lord, Volentia wailed. Not anymore. But he can give you what you want. Impossible! The dream warped. The child changed. Open fields of golden grass changed to stone halls full of banners and trophies. The child was more than the last, and truer. White and pure was her armor. Grace was her step, and power was the very beat of her heart. Volentia didn't want for this daughter. No, she needed her. So with great pain, Volentia gave the current child to Elucia. Gave the child to never see it in truth. Volentia's second birth had been less painful. She could see the man then, her southern lord, her promise from the goddess. Episode 17. Dinner with Monsters. I only know her by her name, Visenya said. Despite father having portraits of his father, his mother, and his siblings, he has none of my mother. Guinevere was put off by the claim that Visenya was Volentia's daughter. No demon could bear a child. It was common knowledge. Curious and loyal, I would gladly bring you to your mother. Surely Volentia desired to see her daughter. From the left of the great hall's entrance was the dining hall. A long table dominated the room, and a second, smaller table was raised above it. It was at this smaller table that they ate. Matthias joined late and touched none of his food. Raphael, it is my understanding that my other generals blamed my failings on you. I must apologize for my incompetence. The surprise march was a risky move to begin with. The fact we walked into a trap only proved that. It was not your fault, my lord, that the thrice chain could not be stopped. Those demon slaves are fierce, and the thrice chained fiercer. I underestimated him. Whatever happened to him? If the reports on his strength weren't exaggerated, I have difficulty believing anything short of a watchman could stop him, let alone mercenaries. Simple weight of numbers. That, and in truth the mercenary Captain Varder, was his match. Though the bastard's gotten old. On the other hand, you still look as young as you did last we met. Those 20 years have been kind to you, my lord." Matthias paused for a moment before saying, "Aye." Something moved strangely out of the corner of Elidas's eye. The creature was rat-like, but fully the size of a child. Or at least, that is what he thought it looked like. As the feasting on pork and duck dies down, and the people settle, Matthias prodded Malara. "It was difficult to find anything about you. I know you come from southern lands, wrought with plague. But I must ask, why have you come to my city?" Malara responds simply, "I go where the winds take me." When the food is finished, Visenya called for Octavius to remove the guards and the maids. Understanding her intentions, the man is swift with the banishment of the staff, and sure that none remain to eavesdrop. "My darling little sisters," Visenya said enthusiastically. "Guinevere, Medea, it has come to my attention that you are both witches. Not witches like the creature burned a few days past. No, true witches. My sisters in the art. Tell me, what have you wrought with your magics?" One of Raphael's eyebrows raised, but a hand from the High Lord stayed him.
"I haven't the faintest clue what you speak of,"
said Medea.
"You must be mistaken, though I think it is not a thing to bring up with others present."
Visenya blinked in confusion. Her eyes locked forward.
"Ah, my apologies. It was not my intention to make you both so uncomfortable."
She pouted. Octavius had the dessert brought in, a cake of dried fruits. None of the party had ever had fruit before. The dish was sweeter than anything they had ever tasted. Soon after the cake was served, Matthias excused himself. Guinevere stared greedily at his portion of the cake as a maid took it away. When the dessert was done, Visenya left, escorted by Octavius. "They seem close," Fenrir said.
"Very,"
said Guinevere.
"Guess when you're that tall, you have to settle for someone shorter,"
said Medea. "Did she ever shift her eyes in her sockets?" asked Elidas. "Or am I seeing things again?"
"Like an owl,"
Guinevere confirmed. Fenrir separated from the rest of the group, taking his dogs outside for them to do their business. The others went to the library, with a few guards who followed them out. One of the maids informed them that they could stay in guest rooms in the smaller tower. Malara returns to tilting paintings. Raphael settled to read.
"How do you think she knew?"
whispered Medea to Guinevere.
"Her mother is a demon,"
said Guinevere.
"Ah, she is rather tall. She may be closer to demon than is entirely safe,"
Medea said nervously.
"Other demons have called me little sister as well."
Overhearing their conversation, Elidas got worried and signaled to them.
"I have to say, Medea, your choice of garment is exceptional. I would love to hear your opinion on other pieces,"
said Guinevere loudly. The women's guards groaned. Fenrir walked down the long stone hall of the cathedral. The moonlight only guided him for the first third of the hall. Matthias Pent, High Lord of Immortus, sat at the hall's end, a single candle illuminating him. The High Lord had beckoned him over. Then Fenrir entered the darkness. His hands and legs disappeared. Naught but the sound of their breathing and the scrape of their claws on the stone told him that his canines were with him. "What information do you have on my sister?" The High Lord sighed. He is slumped on the wooden bench, his face downturned and wreathed in shadow. I do not have the power. I wish I had. Can you not see great distances? Varder has been kidnapping young women and shipping them north. Your sister is among them. So, if Vada was gone, you could bring me my sister? The High Lord nodded. Well, we have plans for making that happen soon. You will need new city champion, no? As long as you are willing to have a man with more dubious background, I am looking to stay here permanently, and it would be good to be in your employ. Matthias threw his head back and laughed. The noise echoed down the hall. If you have a more dubious background than Varder, I would be impressed. If Varder is dead soon, then I will find you a place as captain of the guard. Perhaps more, if you impress. With the deal struck, Fenrir strode back into the shadows of the hall. Elidus got fearful for Fenrir, and went out into the courtyard. It was empty, except for the flooding moonlight from above. Crisp snow seemed unmarred in fields around crudely shoveled pathways between the three main structures within the castle walls. Where were the hounds? Where was the Kraken Man? Fenrir burst from the small church. As he left, a child-sized shadow darted from the church to the castle. Curious about the creature, Fenrir got his dog to track it. The dog found the scent distressing and found no leads.
Fenrir!
Medea rushed to him as he and Elidus re-entered the great hall, then whispered,
The Lady Visenya makes me nervous. Would you mind escorting me back to the inn?
Gladly, said Fenrir. I as well, said Elidus. Guinevere, having no fear of demons, rested in the castle guest room. Melara and Raphael studied for most of the night and slept at their desks. Octavius bit his lip in worry as Visenya tore her eye from her socket. Blood flowed like tears down the giant woman's round cheek. She hissed in pain and contorted her face. Octavius could feel his heart stop in his chest as she reached for the other eye. They were in her private study, a vast set of rooms with various experiments that Octavius didn't think about. Here she lay on a reclined chair, the weight of her pressed deep into its velvety cushions. The second black eye popped from her skull, and Octavius tasted blood from his lip. In her thin fingers, Visenya let Octavius take the eye and place it in the blood pan that rested on the table next to the chair. Blazing torches lit it, and the long mirror that was the only other furnishing beyond the chair and the table. Octavius forced his hands to stop shaking as he took the long steel file from beside the bleeding eyes. The chair groaned as Visenya's hands gripped its armrests, twin lines of blood falling from her empty sockets. "Get on with it," she growled. Within the bloody holes in her head were sharp spikes of bone. Octavius took a deep breath and set about his awful task. The worst part was how she screamed.